You got to go in and approach every game the same. We know he's dangerous. We're not going to change our game plan up. We feel like we got guys that can bring him down. He's a great player. Nobody has stopped him all year, but we're pretty confident. We're going to go into this game like it's any other game. We know it's a national championship game, but we're going to go out there, have fun, make plays, and best man win.
Do you worry that it's so far off? I mean, they got the same time off as you, though.
Oh, no, not at all. As long as we take care of business out here and we got practice, It can be 2 months away, 3 months away. As long as we prepare and stay prepared, and when we come out there, we ready to go.
And you're not just happy to be in this game.
Oh, no, sir. No, sir, not at all. Like I said, last year we went to the Rose Bowl. We were kind of excited. I'm from California, so that was always a dream for me to be in a BCS game. And we lost. It was a sour taste in our mouth all year. DT, Darren Thomas was my roommate last year. That a picture in the newspaper. Prior throwing a touchdown to Posley, and it was a big old newspaper that we hung up on our wall, just to remind us, We don't want to have that feeling again next year. So, we excited, but you can't get overexcited. We got to keep working and stay focused.
In the SEC, you've seen a lot of film, watched teams. Do they seem any different than the Pac-10? Different athletes, different tempo? What's the main difference that you see between them?
It's a little different, but it's all football. We all got to go out there and tackle, make plays, catch the ball, and execute. But they do a lot of more power stuff. Pac-10 is more about speed. But I'm looking forward to the challenge. I only play one SEC team. It's a big talk about the SEC. We went down to Tennessee, had a pretty good game. Looking forward to the test against Auburn.
Eddie, when we first walked up, I heard you talking about Cam Newton versus Terrell Pryor, and that was one of the things that struck me right off the bat. Is this is kind of a similar matchup that you guys had last year? Just your thoughts on, how Pryor and Cam's skill set kind of compare? Oh,
they're both pretty good athletic guys, that can run and throw the ball. They both as big as D tackles, Not in a bad way, but they got pretty good muscle on them, Cam Newton speaks, speaks for himself. He won a Heisman, he did some great things. Even watching film on him, he's a tough player, Like I said, you can't go into this game approaching any different, You got to go out there, have fun, make plays, execute, When we got him in open field, we got to make tackles, Can't just dive at his legs, Just go out there and play football and have fun.
Yeah, is that the one thing maybe from last year that you pick up from the Pryor thing? Because you mentioned it right there, diving at the feet.
Yeah.
Because I remember that last year a couple times. Pryor got out of the pocket and did some of those things.
Yeah, you're right. And last year we had Pryor a couple of times, but like you said, he's some pretty big, strong guys. We gotta bring him down. You gotta find a way to bring him down. We play the sport of football, and that's all about tackling. So, I'm a defensive player. It's up to me and the 10 other guys on the field to get him down. We gotta corral him. We gotta run to the ball. One guy miss him. We gotta have one guy right there to pick up the slack. But like I said, we gonna go out there, have fun. We've been working hard. We had a pretty good 3 days of practice. And, have a couple of days off and get back out here and go to work again.
What do you think about seeing LaMichael in New York representing the team? And more than one occasion, we heard him say, I'm here because of my team.
Yeah.
I'd rather win the BCS than the Heisman and all those kinds of things.
LaMichael, he's a team player. We did a lot of great things for this program. As you guys can see. But I never had a friend that was in the Heisman race. It was great to see him up there. I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. He deserves everything that he's getting right now. But it was pretty cool seeing him up there. Like I said, I never had a friend that better yet be in the Heisman. But he didn't win. But it was still cool to see him up there.